the Sydney Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, but what else do you know? So, well, I'm not the only one here with me today. I have Gillian and also Chloe all the way down in Adelaide who will be hosting me today to learn more about Sydney, Australia. So, Gillian, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers today?
Hello everyone who is watching right now. So I'm Gillian and I will be with Atidayan for tonight.
Yes, that's right. And we will be telling you all about Sydney, Australia, what is there to see, and why do we love our city. And of course, we can't forget the other beautiful hosts who will be joining us this afternoon. Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Hello, Ate Diane. Hello, Ate Gillian. Hello, everyone. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Hello, everyone from INCRadio Australia Satellite Studios. We say hello to you. I am your Ate Chloe, here from the local congregation of Adelaide District of Australia West. Now, I am not from Sydney, but I visit Sydney often. So I am kind of your tourist for today. I'm just going to be touring around Sydney, talking with Ate Diane and Ate Gillian about everything that they know all about Sydney. So maybe I could visit and then I could visit again and then they can tell me where to go.
Well, Chloe, Gillian also recently arrived here in Australia. So she is also exploring Sydney at the moment. So she will probably share some of her experience as well to our listeners and our viewers about firsthand of what it is, her feelings in terms of coming here in Sydney, Australia. But before we dwell into that, we just want to give congratulations to our last week winners. Yay. So, for the hashtag challenge winners, we have number one. We have the local congregation of Altona, Melbourne, and Shepparton.
Yes, congratulations!
And of course, going to the next set of winners for our top viewers, ranging from our top one, we have the local congregation of Melbourne, Altona, and Port Adelaide. Congratulations! Thank you so much for all your wonderful support. And of course, last but not the least, we cannot forget to thank our top commenters who are just really, numbing their fingers away in doing, commenting in our chats last week. So the very first one that we have, and I apologize in advance if I'm not pronouncing your names properly, but I will do my best. Jack Gallarde from the local congregation of Shepparton, who is leading on the top one comment, and we have second by Emir Mercado from the local congregation of Altona.
Yay.
And running on third place is we have Marty De La Paz from Adelaide.
Yeah, represent. Hearts for you, Mom. That's my mom. Shout out to my mom, Sister Marty De La Paz.
Yes. Congratulations to everyone, and thank you for your warm and wonderful support for INCRadio. It really makes our hearts very, very big, and it makes our hosting really much more enjoyable. So thank you. Please do not get tired of commenting and joining us in all of our shows every Sunday. And of course, what our listeners and viewers can expect today, Gillian?
Oh yeah, of course. Today we will be traveling here in Sydney, Australia. So you're gonna tour us, including me. Yeah, because of course I'm not yet traveling to some popular places, and I haven't been to other like beaches and also gardens. So I want you to tour us, so maybe we can travel next time.
Yeah, we'll do our best, but hopefully, you'll get to enjoy our show. So before that, we just want to please let us know below in the comment what comes in your mind again with the mention of Australia or Sydney. So join our discussion and leave a meaningful comment to be featured on our next episode, just like what we have just done earlier. And you could have just been chosen to be featured, and you will just not be featured but also win those special INCRadio mugs that will be given away for the top commenters. So congratulations. So get those fingers ready, and let us know in the comments what you think of Sydney, Australia, and don't forget, you can even send in your photos as well to us, so that we can even show not just your comments but also your wonderful photos. Okay. And of course, what are they going to be waiting on next?
Up next, let's turn our attention to the skies with the latest weather update. Sydney is located in the southeast coast of Australia with a humid subtropical climate. It has mild winters and warm summers, and to the west of the city are hills protected in some national parks. And the wind blows frequently, especially from October to April, that is in the warm season, being that's in the southern hemisphere. And the season in Sydney are reversed in comparison to Europe or North America. And from October to March, heat waves may occur with the wind blowing from the desert, which can raise the temperature above 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And though for a short period, sometimes only one day, in addition, the wind can bring sand and dust from the desert. The average temperature ranges from 24 degrees Celsius in January to 13 degrees Celsius in July.
Oh, that's right, Gillian. Well, for today's weather update, why don't I actually go out and check what is actually happening? Because, sometimes the weather just changes. So please stay tuned, and then we'll give you the latest weather update next door. And starting from our very own city here in Sydney, we are expecting a maximum of 17 degrees with a possible shower or two. So make sure that you tuck in those brollies to make sure that you don't get caught in the rain. And moving down to Melbourne, it is a maximum of 16 degrees, partly cloudy, and a low chance of rain. And moving to Queensland area, in the city of Brisbane, we are expecting a maximum of 13 degrees and a possible shower as well. Going down to Perth, maximum of 25 degrees, mostly sunny, so make sure to apply your sunscreen to avoid those UV rays going to your wonderful skin. And in Adelaide, it will be a max of 18 degrees, partly cloudy with a low chance of rain. And there in Hobart, it's maximum 14 degrees, so it's partly cloudy, still fairly cold, so make sure that you still have your woolly jackets with you to keep you warm. And going down and to the city of Darwin, we are expecting a maximum of 34 degrees and a possible shower. So it is quite warm, so make sure that you stay hydrated and cool for today. And that is our weather update for today. Stay tuned next week for more updates here in Australia.
Now, as we wait for Ate Dayan to come back to the studio, it's time to check on our activities around Australia.
G'day! I am Sister Lois Yamuta from the local congregation of Melbourne, and I am back for another recap of activities in the land down under. Do you know what I love about going through these activities? We get to see the love of brotherhood strengthen, and we extend acts of kindness to our communities. So, let's have a look at our featured activities this week. The local congregation of Dean Park District of New South Wales embarked on a fun-filled day of activities at one of Australia's favorite winter destinations, the Snowy Mountains. Wow, that was a very fun-filled and exciting activity. The local congregation of Port Adelaide District of Australia West conducted a monthly health check. This is a good reminder that health indeed is wealth, as cliche as it may sound, but it can be truer. The local congregation of Brimbank District of Australia West spent time with the residents at our Care Aged Care facility. This is a very heartwarming and admirable gesture of kindness. Doing good whenever we possibly can in action. Well done, brethren. Wow, it was productive, fun-filled, and inspiring week of activities. Now here are more activities to watch out for in the coming weeks. And that's a wrap! See you next week for another round of Bulletin updates, keeping you in the loop and updated on activities in the land down under.
Ate Diana's back!
Hello. I hope you guys didn't miss me that much. But definitely a lot of things are happening all around Australia, from not only from our district, from New South Wales, Queensland, but also all the way down there in Australia West. And even today, I believe there's a lot of this month of September, especially for our district, we're doing a lot of choir sponsored activities. So we're going to be talking more about that, because that's actually going to be a part of our discovering Sydney, because of all the places that we're going to see. But in terms of that, let's continue on to our learning about Let's Learn Aussie Slang, because even for myself, there's still quite a lot that I need to learn.
Me too, especially me.
All right, okay, well, let's hear it from Brother Morgan. Let's learn Aussie slang.
G'day mates, for another Let's Learn Aussie Slang. Here in Australia, we don't say, it will be okay. We say, she'll be right, which often confuses newcomers. She isn't referring to a person, but a situation. For example, if a car breaks down, we say, she'll be right once the mechanic arrives. What other Aussie slangs have you heard? Let us know in the comments below. That's our Aussie slang for this week. I'm Morgan, and see you again next week.
So Gillian, do you know any other Aussie slang aside from what Morgan has taught us today?
Oh yeah, ate, kasi especially before I went here, I've already studied or watched like YouTube videos about the Aussie slangs. So I won't be like parang culture shock. Kumbaga. Yeah, that's why it's like the one that I learned is the UE. Especially for the drivers out there.
Chaka UE.
Yeah, UE. So it means U-turn in English terms. So UE in Aussie slang. Yeah.
You know, mga ates, I actually learned. I have friends from America, and they don't call their rubbish bins rubbish bins. They call them trash cans.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so the first time that I met one of my friends, and I was like, where is the rubbish bin? And they looked at me with this confused face, and they were like, what is that? I was like, what do you mean, what's a rubbish bin? And like, I don't. But the phrase that Morgan actually taught us, she'll be right, that is part of my daily vocabulary. I say that all the time, as in all the time. Even like I know in shows, in INCRadio Australia shows, I say it all the time. I'm like, you know what? She'll be right.
Yeah.
She'll be okay. Like, she'll be right. No worries. Okay.
Yeah, it's such a very positive and then very hopeful as well. Whatever the situation is, right? It's just a habit in a sense as well that she'll be alright.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
There's also other. Oh, sorry, Atta. There's also other
Yeah.
slang terms. I used help from the internet, of course, and artificial intelligence and AI. It has said stuff like, at the Gillian, have you heard of barbies? Like you chop
yeah.
some prawn on the barbies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that means, Atta?
Yeah, it's barbecue.
Yes, exactly. Barbies.
Good
and
thing I've watched
barbecues.
videos.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have, these are good for summers. Mozzies.
Mosquito.
Yes, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, because there's so many mozzies here in Australia. What other slangs can you think of, mga atas?
I was gonna follow on your trash can because especially when I didn't really grow up much in Philippines, but on the other countries that I've been to, I'm used to calling it the comfort room.
Oh yeah.
And then so coming here in Australia, it's called toilet.
Yeah.
The toilet.
Yeah, so when I go, normally because Filipinos, we're normally Americanized and we call it comfort room or CR.
Yeah, CR.
So I went to the gas station. It's like, can I use your CR?
Yeah, and they just look at you like,
I think the
know.
gas stations, it's not even called gas stations. It's servos.
Turbo. Oh.
So I was like, what is that? I have to get used to that kind of term. But there are so many terms that you get used to, and then you don't even realize the longer that you stay around here in Sydney or even around Australia, it just becomes as like a part of you.
Yeah, it's become a habit.
Yeah. And then you take it
for
with
sure.
you.
Yeah. I'm taking it right now.
And you're like, at first when you hear those slangs, you're just like confused.
Yeah.
But then once you hear your friends start to say it, of course, naturally you'll pick up on it, and then they'll rub off on you a little bit more and more, and then you'll just end up talking in Aussie slang. It's not even Aussie slang. It's just everyday
Language. Yeah, no, that's right. But then it's still very different from all the the terms, and it always varies. And I think even for us, even here in Australia, because with the British colony as well, so sometimes we have some of their slangs, and then it's a little bit the same, but then some of it is also quite different.
Yeah.
So but it's actually very fun to learn as well because it makes it homey. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I'm learning a lot, and especially it makes you become different person, because especially when I go back to the Philippines, and then if I use that word, they'll be confused to me as well.
That's why you have to make the adjustment.
What word are you using?
So now
I
you
haven't heard
have
that
two
word
brains.
before.
Yeah.
And I think, Chloe, the reason why sometimes they get confused that Aussies tend to speak faster is because of the way that we're shortening the
Exactly.
words. And so that's why they're like, you guys speak too fast. But really, it's just that we're shortening the words. They're not really getting any faster.
Exactly. So it's very fun to hear, and it's always funny to hear my friends and my family try to replicate the different words. It's so cute when they do it. I'm just keep talking. I don't mind, just you keep talking. But yeah, everyone, we hope you've enjoyed all of the Aussie slangs that we've talked about today. Of course, we're going to be continuing to talk about Aussie slangs every week from now on as part of our relaunch. So we would like to give some early bird commenters some shout outs, because there are so many of you in the comments down below. So make sure you continue to engage in our live chat. We would like to give, of course, our shout outs to Kuya Carlo Matining. Hi Kuya Carlo, and Kuya Algin. Hello Kuya Algin, at the Diane, and at the and Sean, shout out to Sean, from hashtag Melvin, of course, brother Josh Magna from hashtag Altana. There's so many brothers and sisters all the way from hashtag Melbourne, hashtag Altana. So please, everyone, continue to do our hashtag challenge. For example, I am from the local congregation of Adelaide, so your hashtag will be hashtag Adelaide. So make sure you keep commenting down our hashtags, and we'll announce our winners maybe in this show, maybe next week's show. You'll have to see and you'll have to find out. But yes, so, and of course, we'll be also sharing our viewer stats next episode. So make sure you tune in for that every week. So stay tuned, everyone, because you're still watching Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studios, one of the official satellite studios of INC.
To the crew of Made in Australia, congratulations on the successful launching of your show, a program which will take the viewers on an exciting journey to the land down under, offering a unique blend of entertainment, information, and inspiration. To all the viewers, we thank you for your commitment and support in spending Sunday afternoon with us. Once again, congratulations to all of you. Thank you and God bless.
You are listening to Iglesia ni Cristo Radio, the voice of truth.
Welcome back, and you're still listening to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio. So before we travel around the Sydney city once again, let's hear what are some of our brethren have to say about their city. What do they like about Sydney? What is their favorite thing to do, and how would they describe their home city? So let's watch this.
From Sydney, Australia. I love Sydney because of its vibrancy and multiculturalism.
I love my city because of its diverse population and great public transport.
Hi, I'm Sister Marissa Ara. What I love about Sydney is the current weather we're currently having, which is spring. It's one of the best parts of being in Sydney is to be able to walk out and about with your family and friends, and to also meet other people. What I also love about it is the culture and how relaxed it is with meeting other people and also seeing a diverse way of life. My favourite thing to do in Sydney is to obviously be at the park and having an adventure walk and talk with my family and friends. And it's a great way to exercise and also feel the relaxed environment that we have here in Sydney. What I would describe Sydney to my friends and family overseas is that it's a relaxed environment, very good culture, and a diversity of multicultural people. What I also love about Sydney is the fact that it's a land of opportunities, and everyone here is welcome and feeling that they will be able to fit in and be part of the community.
What I love about Sydney is that I like how it's a good blend of city life and also something that has natural beauty. As there's a lot of things that you can do in the city, like going to the markets, going to museums, but then Sydney also has some really nice natural landscapes that you can go for a walk in. One of my favourite things to do is explore the markets. There's always new markets around in the city. They always offer such a diverse range of things that you can find. Could be food, crafts, fashion, trinkets. I also love visiting the museums. I would describe Sydney as a multicultural city. I think it's vibrant. It's also kind of laid back. I feel like there's always something to do, especially if you're into food hopping. There's a big diverse food culture in Sydney. I think Sydney has something for everyone.
Very, very, wonderful comments from our brethren around here in Sydney. And you can actually feel how much they're very proud and how much they actually really love their city. Well, Gillian, sorry to put you on the spot,
Okay.
well, you're out of the three of us, you're the newcomer here in Sydney. So when you first arrived here in Sydney, what was your feeling? What was your first impression?
Because the day I arrived here, it's winter, so it's so cold. Yeah, because I thought like they said that the temperature when we arrived it's 10 degrees. So okay, because I'm wearing my.
We're gonna have to guess the cardigans, the
Okay, our listeners
the coffee, the coffee jacket. Yeah, because it says like it's so cold. So, but I don't feel it yet because we're inside the airport, and once the door open, the wind, the wind just what do you call it?
very strong wind.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of the winds actually, especially in the winter here in Australia, they can actually like throw you off.
Yeah.
I've experienced it this year as well.
Yeah.
The winds were so strong that I felt like I was just getting carried by the wind in that direction. I'm like, no, I need to walk the other. Please help me.
You know, Chloe, that is actually the reason why I am trying to maintain going to the gym to put on some weight, because I feel like the wind can just blow me away. Because I'm tiny.
We need to put some weights to make it.
Yeah, honestly.
But this normally happens when, you know, it's changing season here in Sydney. That when you get that really strong gust of wind around us. But, you know, as long as we get some, like, you know, a buddy, hold on to someone.
Yeah.
Well, what else was your experience here in Sydney?
What I love about it is the scenery. Like even if you're in a small suburb, like the scene is so good, and then like the sunsets and everything. Like I just love the view. Even if you don't need to go out, you don't need to go to the city. Even if you're just at home, you're just gonna love the view from just outside of your house. Like, oh, this is so good, I just want to live here. And also I love the people, like how they just approach you, like they're just smiling at you, like even.
Oh, they're always very kind.
And that is most shocking for me at first, because from Philippines to Australia, so also like it's multiple multiple nationalities that I've encountered. So it's a different culture that I need to like adjust. Because of course, like you're not the only Filipinos here. They also have like Vietnamese, Koreans, Chinese. So I need
Very diverse. I guess that's something that Australia is very proud of in this country, is that we're very multicultural, very diverse. That's something that even from a young age, you know, studying from Australia, we have we have those kinds of events that celebrate the multiculturalism of Australia. So yeah, it's a very good thing. What else at the Gillian?
And plus it offers us what we're blessed with the different foods as well, because we're multicultural. You can taste a lot of variety of food. You can never I think that's why it's difficult. Every day I go out, I'm just like, I don't know what to eat, because there's a lot of different cuisines.
Where do you want to eat? Like in Malaysian cuisine, in the Thailand cuisine,
Like if you're craving something, it'll be like around the corner. And that's a really good thing about Sydney, because it's such a big, vibrant city. Like what shout out to Sister Shanor, Sister Elle, who made the video. Hi cousins. No. They called Sydney very vibrant, very busy. And that's such a good advantage of Sydney, is like if you have something that you're craving, chances are it's around the corner. For example, I'm craving a curry, it's around the corner. Or like I'll probably drive all I know is like Parramatta. Like you can drive to Parramatta, you basically have everything. And at the Gillian, what you said about like the view, the Sydney skyline, and also the Parramatta skyline. I have this inside joke with my friends where like we were driving and I pointed and I was like, what is that? Is that Sydney? Like I can't see the Harbour Bridge, or I can't see the Opera House. And they laughed at me and they were like, that's Parramatta. I was like, what do you mean? It looks like the city. Yeah, like it's a sight to behold. Like it's a sight that you can always admire, which is very lovely about Sydney. But at the Diane, you live in Sydney.
Yeah, I've lived in Sydney for a while. Yeah, I've actually been around Sydney.
That's the distinct difference. What do you think are some famous landmarks in Sydney at the Diane?
See, that's the thing, when I was just thinking about, discovering about Sydney, as just what you mentioned, I feel like there's so many places here in Sydney that we can actually talk about. It's just, I think one episode is not just going to be enough because, as you said, Parramatta on itself already, there's a lot of things to do in there. But if we're just going to talk about in general of Sydney, there's a lot of, the iconic landmarks that everyone's, probably even our listeners and our viewers would have heard of already. So to our listeners and our viewers, once again, we're, comment on our chat below. What are some of the iconic landmarks that that about Sydney, Australia, just in general? But I think one of the top ones that always comes up is, the Sydney Opera House. Yeah. Because of its very, unique architecture, and that's always been, Sydney Opera House, that's always been the iconic part of, that's actually symbolizes, that's Australia, that's Sydney, Australia. And even for me, Sydney Opera House plays a very, very important memory because that's where we actually had our Oz 40. So if you remember that, Chloe.
I loved Oz 40.
We were in Melbourne during that time, and we drove all the way back here in Sydney to be able to step on that stage in that Sydney Opera House and perform. And it was one of the most very blessed and wonderful memories that we have, being able to go inside and perform.
It was so surreal. Even just going inside, I feel like the Sydney Opera House, it's something that tourists, they always take a picture of outside. So it's always like, it's, I call them shark fins because they look like shark fins. But it's always the exterior that everyone's very excited, the staircase where you take photos. But it's so surreal once you actually go inside. Because, everyone talks about the outside, but when you go inside, it's so, whoa, this is real. This is a place where, another thing about Australia is that they celebrate arts, the visual arts, the performing arts very well. And you see that this is such a core of, the performing arts in Sydney, is the Sydney Opera House. A lot of orchestras, symphony orchestras play there. But one of the biggest blessings was to be able to perform there and to attend a worship service there. And it's just, when I tell my friends about it, they're always so surprised. They're like, you went into the opera house. You performed at the opera house. How did you perform at the opera? Just going inside the opera house is something, but being able to be on stage, perform, is a completely different thing.
Oh, definitely. It was, but Chloe, what is one of the most wonderful memories for me there is actually, I think you guys were helping us actually in terms of the children's performance. Seeing them on stage, how proud they were. And they only had a little time to practice, but during the practice, how the children are always cheeky, and they weren't as coordinated during the during the practice. They're very impatient. But the moment they sat on the stage in the Sydney Opera House, it was like they're different. They were just so concentrated. They were very proud. They were in sync, and I was like, I couldn't be proud. I felt like I was those 40 kids. I felt like I was their mom, and I was very, very proud. I was just like,
such a once in a lifetime opportunity. What kid can easily say, "Hey, I performed at the opera house"?
Exactly.
You can't just say that.
Yeah.
It's such a surreal experience. Another one is the Harbour Bridge, of course.
Yeah.
You look on this side and it's the opera house. You look on this side, it's the Harbour Bridge. The Harbour Bridge is very interesting to me because you can actually climb it. There's an activity where you can climb the top of the Harbour Bridge, which for a person that hates heights and has a irrational fear of heights, and that is just...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I'll just be happy taking a photo from the bottom where my knees wouldn't be shaking.
I'm happy by the bridge, or driving through the bridge. But no.
Especially after when you ride a train, when you're going along in the bridge itself, oh, this is so nice. The structure, you can see the details of the structure of the bridge. It's different, especially during sunsets or the sunrise. It's like a golden hour. It's different. It's so cool. you're gonna in love with the view.
Yeah, no, Sydney Harbour Bridge, that's really one of the, even for us as well, I think a few years ago, we did actually the worldwide walk there.
Ooh.
So, I don't know, Chloe, where you end up doing yours, but yeah, for us, that's why it's one of the most memorable as well for us, that Sydney Harbour Bridge, we did, I don't know how long it took us, I think it took us at least 2 hours. Because we did a whole round.
Yeah.
A whole round.
That's long.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people doesn't even notice that when you look on that sidewalk, they thought it's actually really narrow and small.
Yeah.
It's actually quite wide. Because from what I remember, there's probably at least 5 or 5 at the most that can fit in one go. Mm-hmm. And then there was like a whole crowd of us behind us. Yeah. I remember waking up at 5 a.m. to be at the entrance. Just to set up, but it's really wonderful walking there in the morning. And as you said, Gillian, when the train passes by, you see people actually join because it's a good running pace. It's very nice. You have a good view. You get the nice, vitamin D from the sun. So it's just spectacular being there. But I don't think I'll be able to do. I'll be brave enough to do the Harbour Bridge climb though. But I might be able to. I'm sorry, Chloe.
Oh no, like it just looks terrifying at that to me. Like, but it's like if I get offered to do it, I can't say no. Like, like it'll be embarrassing if I say no. So I need to at least do it, or else I'll regret doing it. I'll regret not doing it. Another one, my personal favorite, are the Blue Mountains. Fun fact, they're not actually blue. Like, I don't know who thought they were Blue Mountains, but they're green, sorry. Sometimes they snow. It snows in the Blue Mountains. One of the very few places that actually snow in Australia. But in winters, we don't really reach below 0. Very rare. In the Blue Mountains, they do have some snow. Here in Adelaide, it's sort of Mount Lofty area. You get some frosts. But yeah. How have you been to the Blue Mountains at the Gillian?
I haven't. That's why I don't know if it's blue or not.
Well, sorry to break the bubble. Sorry to burst your bubble.
The view in Blue Mountains, because everyone you need to go to the Blue Mountains. It's all good too if you want to hike. Yeah, if you're a hiker, yeah, they said that it will be good if you want to hike in the mountains. So because it's especially good for your cardio and for the view, of course. So yeah, I just want to try, and especially so they will not tell me like you need to go like that.
Well, Blue Mountains, they have one of the biggest challenge of I think they have the 1,000 steps.
Ooh.
So that one, it's not for the faint-hearted. So you gotta do your own research and prepare yourself physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Because I did have a peak. I tried, I think 10 steps down. I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm going back out.
Yeah, you're going back. Yeah, you're like going back. Sorry.
And look, Chloe and Gillian, I think Blue Mountains itself as well, it's actually one of my favorite go-to if I just want to escape the busy city. And Blue Mountains actually is one of holds a very special memory as well in my heart, because that's where one of my special moments happened as well. So that's why I will always be biased that I love Blue Mountains, because there's just so many things to do in there. I think it's just like, anything that fits whatever lifestyle that you even want. It's a quiet place to go to. Yeah. But they also have their mini city where it can be also busy, and you'll meet the very friendly people there. And if you like to do op shopping as well, they have those second-hand books. Because for me, I was able to find their this crime fiction writer that I've been. Well, it's very old, but and I've never been able to find them. Even I've searched online, but when I went to one of the bookstores, I actually found quite a large collection of her, and I think they just love collecting those antiques, and I was very happy. And I think that's why I love Blue Mountains. There's just so many things to do there, as you said. Even food, they actually quite a lot of food variety in there as well. So maybe next time we'll have an episode just featuring Blue Mountains as well.
Yeah, you need to take me there as well, so I can visit just for once.
Yeah, for once. Well, there's so many more landmarks here in Sydney, and I think in the city, if we're going back to the city area on itself, next to the Sydney Opera House, there's actually the Royal Botanical Garden and also the Sydney Eye Tower. So I believe there is a nice revolving restaurant there. And if you are afraid to do the Sydney climb, I believe they also have the tower where you can actually go out. You have a harness and you can have the full view of the city as well.
That's an experience.
Yes, definitely. So for all our listeners and viewers out there who is getting intrigued now to go and visit Sydney and who wants to see all this spectacular view as well.
Me too.
I'm coming back.
Take me.
Now you have a whole list, Chloe, to where to go. And as we are already talking about the landmarks, here in Sydney, they also have their beaches. So here in Sydney, we actually have more than 100 beaches because we are in the coastline. Yeah. So there's a lot of beaches here in Sydney, but I think one of the common ones that people would have probably heard of is the Bondi Beach. So that is one of, and because it's also in our series, right, Chloe? I don't know if you watched.
I love that series. I
Yeah.
love that TV show. There's a TV show based on lifeguards at Bondi Beach. Amazing show.
It is. You need to watch that. We'll send you the link, Gillian. Bondi Beach is really there's a lot of actually activities that happens in there. So I think one of the we'll just jump on as well here in Sydney. They love their events as well, and I think that's what makes it really vibrant and exciting living here in Sydney. So in Bondi Beach, one of my favorite ones is actually they do sculptures by the sea.
Oh.
So as you said already, Chloe, here in Australia, they really love their art, celebrating that. So around, I think, October, November is when they do it. So for a good 2 weeks, you go to the beach during the day and you just walk around that coastline of Bondi Beach, and there you'll see all the different sculptures that people created, and then you just walk around there and you see it, and it's by the shore, and they have you just follow the line. And I really love it because every year it's very different. They have a different team. Last year I think they did a little bit of recognizing the Aboriginals. So it was quite a spectacular view as well. So that was one of my favorite ones in Bondi Beach. Have you been to any of the beaches here yet?
No, Ate. It's been a year that I'm living here and I haven't been to any beaches so far. So I'll just wait for summer. So because it's so cold to ligo pa in the beach.
Yeah. You're missing out. It's a must. If you're in Sydney, you have to go to I feel like that's something that Australia really does best. I know we're biased. I know we love our beaches here in Australia, but we really do have the best ones. Not even in Sydney, in Adelaide. Adelaide has arguably the best beaches. Even more than Bondi, I must say. But the best kinds of views are actually, for me, it's when you see the actual edge of Australia. You take a long drive and, for example, over the Great Ocean Road, you take a long drive and you see this, cliff kind of thing. And then you see just blue. It's there's no other land past it. You can tell that that's actually the edge of Australia. And you're driving through it. I know when you, for example, if you drive from Adelaide all the way to Melbourne, all the way to Sydney, you'll be able to go through that route as well, which is very, very nice. But other kinds of beaches in Sydney, of course, you have Manly Beach, you have Coogee Beach, Balmoral and Watson's Bay. They're less, I guess, Bondi Beach is so landmarky, and so there's a lot of it's a very famous spot, so there's going to be a lot of people expect that. So if you're more of an introvert or if you don't like crowds that much, of course there's plenty of other beaches as alternatives that you can go to other than Bondi Beach. Maybe take a photo of Bondi Beach, drive another 15 minutes down the road, down the promenade, and you'll get to another beach. It really is like that.
A lot. I believe there's also that DY Beach as well. So I think, Manly Beach, that as you mentioned, Chloe, I think that is one of the common beaches where people if you're into photography, they really love going there. And also, I think a lot of food places in that area too. So people like to go there, especially for brunch. I think Aussies love their brunches.
I love a brunch
here.
I love a brunch. You talked about brunch. Sydney is very, very, very good at brunches. So all over social media, everywhere, you'll always find like, oh, like there's this brunch spot at like, I always say Parramatta. Parramatta's my example. Like a Parramatta or like near St. George or near like Croydon Park. I'm talking about all the different local congregations in Sydney. But yeah, in those areas, there's always like a brunch space. Australians love their coffee. I know we always talk about Melbourne coffee is the best coffee, which arguably I think it is, but Sydney's coffee is up there as well. Sydney's coffee and desserts, they have such good desserts. And brunches, like, oh, the big brekkies. Oh, at the Gillian, have you ever had a big brekkie?
Not yet. I would love to try.
You're missing out.
Okay.
You need to update me right now.
I think we'll have to go to breakfast after this.
Because it's night. It's night.
Well, that's the thing here in Sydney. There's actually some places, especially in the city, that they serve all-day breakfast. So you can actually have your breakfast even at nighttime.
Really? For real? That's cool. Interesting.
I think like a big brekkie's, I feel like that's another Australian term, brekkie, short for breakfast. A big brekkie consists of literally everything that you could think of. Eggs, cooked however you like it, tomatoes, mushrooms, there's bacon, and it's basically, to me, if you want to compare brunch places not in Adelaide, in Australia, in Sydney, get their big brekkie, because they'll always cook it a little bit differently. So if, for example, you don't know what to order, that's always the stock standard. And that's how you know a place is good at brunch. Is if I'm digressing to big brekkie territory. So we're gonna...
Well, yeah, I think that's going to be a separate topic later as well about the food here in Australia, because it's very, very diverse as well. So not just in Sydney, but I feel like when you go to the different states of Australia, it's a certain type of, like, you know, a variety of food that you will experience as well. So here, even in Sydney, you know, even though we say that we have a lot of the multicultural variety of food, you'll find it as well in the other state, but it's just a little bit different. And then the taste is just also
different.
Yeah, like, you know, it's just very special in a way. Like you can say, like, oh, you know, it's very Sydney style, or it's very Melbourne style. So, and that kind of difference. So that's why, you know, for all our listeners and viewers, of course, we would love to have you here in Sydney. We'd love to show you around. But, you know, it's also worth going to the other places, because it's, you know, it's what makes the whole Australia. Because, you know, in the sense that you get to experience a variety of things. Some of them may be similar, but each state, they offer just a little bit different to make it a bit unique. Well, in terms of, you know, we already touched on different landmarks, activities, you know, for the adventurous type who would want to go to Sydney. But there are also activities, you know, for people who doesn't like a little bit of adventure, but they're all probably on the fashion side of things. So here in Sydney, they also like to do their shopping. So there's a lot of the famous areas. So depending on where you are, even on the Sydney city area alone, there's a lot of places that you can go if you just like to browse around, check for what's new in the fashion. So for example, one of them is the Queen Victoria building. So just around, you know, it's close to the train stations as well. There's the Rocks. There's also their markets there every weekend. Have you even been there, Gillian?
No. You see, I'm a tourist here. I'm a tourist.
I think Chloe will have a job.
Sydney's really good. Sydney's also very good at markets. Yeah. We'll take you everywhere. Australia, especially Sydney, Melbourne, all of the capital cities like Melbourne, Adelaide, they love markets. And that's the beauty about Australian culture. They love local produce, handmade, local products. That's their key thing. And the place where you can showcase that the most is markets. Here in Adelaide, there's Central Markets, but there's also Queen Victoria Markets, I know as well. And yeah, very, very diverse. It's not just your typical like high-end, expensive brands. Very accessible and very support local. We're very focused on that in Australia and even in Sydney.
Yeah, that's right. And I think one of the things that I love here is they also have their factory outlets.
Oh yeah.
So you get good brands.
Yeah, we can buy the luxurious brand or like some expensive brands that we can buy outside the factory outlets that you can buy like for only $25 or $50. Like, I have this brand.
Yes, with the good quality for like a fraction of the price, which is really great.
That's what I love about here.
So I see, like that's why I feel like well, for me, I feel like Sydney will always be my home. But obviously, Chloe, I know you have your own.
Yeah.
Adelaide's where I grew up, so I have to be loyal to Adelaide, give credit to where it's due. I did grow up in Adelaide. I'm not betraying Adelaide by talking well of Sydney.
Well, that's why we say, like, people will just have to visit each area of Australia to find their home as well. Because I feel like everywhere you go, of course, for me, I will always come back to Sydney, but you'll always find something in each state of Australia to make it your home as well. Because it's not really just a place; it's the people as well. So if I see Sister Chloe and they're in Adelaide, I'll feel at home because she's very friendly. She's like family.
Yeah, you're gonna make me cry.
Aww. Well, I have Sister Gillian here in in Sydney, so I can't just leave her too.
Exactly. It means I have to go to Sydney.
Yeah. Well, also the thing that I like here in Sydney, and I think one of our they have spoken about it earlier. One of the brethren is they do a lot of events here in Sydney. Oh. So I believe all in the other state they do it as well, but I feel like in Sydney they make it a little bit big on their events. And one of my favorite ones is where they actually have around in May is their Vivid nights. Oh,
I love it.
I really enjoy. I always go every year. I have never missed going to those to that celebration because every night they have just every year they have a different theme, and I think I would suggest to all our listeners and our viewers, if you ever come here, or even to whoever here in Sydney, but you haven't even gone to Vivid, actually going for a cruise, a launch cruise is the best way to go see everything because it's tiring to walk. It's gonna take you 3 hours.
Since it's a lot of people going there, and especially just if you don't want like crowded people, just don't go there like the last day of Vivid.
Yeah.
So if you want to have like a nice travel in Vivid or a nice visit in Vivid, especially at night. Yeah, I love the sceneries at night because it's my first time to go to the Vivid. And it's a good experience for me. Like, there's a good the lightings in the building. Like they have like short videos like playing in the building. Like what? And also in the opera house they have like what do you call it? It's like they're showing something in the opera house.
Yeah.
Like they show like the culture in Australia, and it's a different thing.
And then I think one of the nights as well on the weekends they would do like a drone show. I find that always very fascinating how they actually be able to come out, and I don't even know how many drones they would use to create such wonderful
like how
artwork.
they control as well.
Yeah, but they're so in sync, and I mean that gives to the technology that we have now. It's developing rather rapidly, but it looks really amazing. So it's worth checking out. So to if it's one of the big events that we actually look up here in Sydney, and then there's quite a few more because here in Australia, I'm sure Gillian, even though you knew, you would have probably noticed that Australians are very sporty people. And one of the big events that they hold here, actually even from my work, quite a few has joined this recently, is they call it City to Surf. So they're not surfing, okay?
Like I'm thinking if they're going to surf to the city or what.
But it's actually a marathon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a running event. So, but I think you get to choose how many kilometers. I think it's around 14 kilometers of running. And then you actually get a medal at the end. So
I love that.
But
Very, very fun.
yeah. Have you tried that, Chloe?
There's an equivalent here in Adelaide. It's not City to Surf, it's City to Bay. Sort of the same thing it starts from the center of the city, CBD here in Adelaide, and goes all the way to Glenelg Beach, which some of you might have heard of. I don't run.
I'm with you on that.
I people watch. I am a spectator. I'm not necessarily I'm not very physically gifted. I run about 50 meters and that's it. That's my limit for the day. you know?
Yeah, well, I have quite a few of my workmates who are very dedicated into running, and they've been trying to persuade me to run with them because they actually run on a weekly basis as part of their training for this, especially for these big marathons. And I told them, look, I would be the person who would gladly wait at the finish line, give you towels and water.
That's a pleasure.
Yes. And I will give you like the biggest congratulations on finishing the race. But I would definitely be eating while waiting for you guys.
Exactly. Like, you can finish the race. I'm here with my brunch.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. But there's so many annual events that Sydney has. There's also the Sydney Art Festival. There's the Sculpture by the Sea, which is what you've mentioned, Ate Diane. And also the Sydney Cherry Blossoms, which is around what time of the year, Ate Diane?
Actually, it just passed. I think it just finished like from last week. So it happens around in August.
I missed it.
Where actually they're blossom. Yeah. And it happens within a span of 2 to 3 weeks. So yeah, so it's actually really beautiful. Like, you know, it makes it's like a little, I guess, you know, a little Japan here in Sydney.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of the Japanese cherry blossoms, which happen around March, April. Makes sense because, of course, we're in the Southern Hemisphere, as Ate Gillian said. Our seasons are reversed. I recently had a talk with a friend who didn't realize that. I don't want to name drop them. It's like we had a big joke about it. But yes, those are all of the information all about Sydney and Sydney's different events, Sydney's different landmarks. We hope you enjoy Sydney if you ever choose to visit or if you choose to live there. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It's very busy but very lively if that's what you're into. But of course, the most important thing is the nearest worship service and the nearest places of worship to go to. So we have, if you're basing it around sort of Sydney CBD area, there's 3 main local congregations. There's a local congregation of St. George, local congregation of North Sydney, and the local congregation of Sydney. So if you're in any of those local congregations, make sure to sound off in the live chat. We want you to promote your local congregations because all of the brethren in Sydney are the sweetest people I know. I've grown up with them. I've grown up with plenty of them, and I have met a lot of them, especially through performing art duty. So it's very inspiring to see them grow and to see them, to see us always perform. Now, our hashtag challenge. Very, very competitive. Very.
I know, it's always every week, Chloe. It's always between.
It just shows the amount of support that we INCRadio Australia gets. Shout out to hashtag Melbourne. Shout out to hashtag Altona. Shout out even to hashtag Shepparton. You've been so active, and we thank you so much. But let's keep our viewers guessing to see who's winning right now, shall we? So, let's stay tuned, everyone. You're still listening to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio, one of the...
Alright, welcome back, and you're still listening to Made in Australia. And of course, how are we going to be able, now that we've talked all about Sydney, we're not just going to end it just with giving you all of this information, you know, but we're also going to have a bit of fun. So it's time for a little bit of our game time.
It's game time. Let's play.
Okay, so now during our game time, we're just gonna give you a bit of fun facts about Sydney, because I'm sure while we were discussing all about these different locations of Sydney, all the fun activities, you have already doing probably your own research as well. Well, there are a few more that you may not just be able to know just yet. So for our first question, what is known as the oldest street in Australia? And it's actually possibly the first street even here in Australia. And it's located here in Sydney. So we'll give you a few moments, jot your answers, or, you know, take a guess here.
This is throwback to like high school, primary school. This is history. I remember this. Do you know this one, Ate Gillian?
I have no idea. But I think I've seen it when I'm traveling here in the city. I think I've seen that one, that name, because it's standing just there at the corner.
Yeah. Would you have an idea, Chloe?
I think I do, because primary school, and you know they sort of we do a lot of history and history subjects in school. So especially in primary school, primary school and high school. It's very very interesting, very throwback of me.
What is what's happening in our comments? I think a lot of people are actually commenting. So it seems that a lot of people know where this place is.
Yeah.
Well, let's stop and let's not keep them waiting. So what is the first street the oldest street in Australia? Can you read the answer?
Okay, the answer is George Street.
George Street.
Yeah.
Very popular. There's also George Streets. It's not just one George Street, by the way, in Sydney. Every suburb would probably have a George Street. Adelaide also has a George Street. But George Street as in the one in the CBD, near Circular Quay, which is sort of the nearest train station to the Harbour Bridge and Sydney Opera House and all of the landmarks.
Well, so for those who have guessed George Street, congratulations to all of you. But once again, we will let you know who the winners are next week. Well, for our next fun fact, what year did Sydney hosted the Olympics? Okay, so a little bit of a hint to our listeners and our viewers. This is actually the same postcode of Sydney. So if you know Sydney postcode, then you would know the year.
I didn't know that. This Olympics is actually very significant for the history of Sydney and just the history of Australia. It's still celebrated up until now. Again, Sydney Olympic Park, that's where we held our countdown to Centennial. Very fun. That was so much fun. I was only, I think, 12 at that time. Yeah. So many memories in Sydney. Might as well live there. No, my heart is in Adelaide, I think. For now. I'll always visit. Every year, I'll always visit.
Well, going back to our question, what year did Sydney host the Olympics? Gillian, what year is it?
Oh, it's like my birth year as well, so the answer is
really?
2000. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's making me feel so old.
It's make Ate Diane feel old day to day.
Yeah, so Sydney actually hosted the Olympics in the year 2000, and yes, that is also the postcode of Sydney. So for all of you, again, congratulations if you have guessed it correctly. 2000 is the year indeed. So for our next question, can you read this next question, Gillian?
What is the nickname of the Sydney Harbour Bridge?
Oh, I think you should know this since you always, your train passes.
You always go past it. Your train always goes past it. If you see it, you'll sort of be able to visualize. I feel like Aussies actually do this a lot. They give nicknames to very significant buildings. There's a building here that's actually one of the core, in Adelaide, the Health and Medical Research Institute. It looks like a cheese grater. So I call it the cheese grater. So whenever my friends are for example, doing internships, I'm like, oh, so you're going to the cheese grater for a couple of weeks. Yeah, and they know what I'm talking about. So I guess in Sydney, this is the equivalent in the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
I did not even think about it till actually they mentioned it. And I think the moment they mentioned it, I just couldn't see Sydney Harbour Bridge in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, that is it.
So let's see what are the comments are actually saying. What are our listeners and our viewers guessing? What is the nickname of the Sydney Harbour Bridge? Would you have an idea? Gillian?
No, but I'm seeing it I think I know the answer because I'm how to unsee it.
All right, well, prepare. For our listeners and our viewers, the nickname that the Sydney Harbour Bridge is the coat hanger.
What?
So picture it now.
It is a coat hanger.
Yeah, if you're in your laptops or in your phone, have a look.
Oh no.
And then look at a coat hanger and you will understand.
Oh no, I how to unsee that thing. Now when I'm
can't unsee it.
Yeah, how to unsee it. And now I'm going to see the Harbour Bridge every time I go to school oh, the coat hanger.
But it's a magnificent coat hanger.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I hope that you all enjoyed our show today and, unpacking Sydney, all the different things that you can do and places to go as well. And we just want to do a last quick shout out to all our listeners and our viewers, most especially to Brother Seth, Sister Buena, who is always tuning in to INC Radio, Brother Dan Diaz, Sister Laura, and Brother Richard Esperanza. Hello, Paula. Thank you for tuning in. And also we have Brother Emir from Altona, who's always messaging us as well and, sending their regards to INC Radio. We have Sister Miles Magno and, of course, Sister Emilu. Hello. We hope you come and visit us again. We miss you. And also Kuya Julius and Sister Genevieve from Altona as well. Hello, Paul. Thank you so much for always supporting INC Radio Australia. Well, made in Australia. All right. Well, I hope everyone you've enjoyed our show today. And for our hashtag winners, as we have mentioned earlier, please keep them coming in because we won't just tell you today because we want you to tune into our show next week again. So please join us again next week to find out who are the hashtag winners and who are our top viewers and our top commenters to receive the special prizes or the Made in Australia merchandise. So we will give you a variety of the Made in Australia merchandise. So make sure that you always join us every Sunday to see if you have made it and then to hear even just a greeting or maybe your photos that you've sent to us. You can see it as well. So make sure to always join us every Sunday. That's at 5 p.m. Australian time and 3 p.m. Philippine time.
And of course, we would like to thank our CFO, Christian Family Organizations Coordinator, Brother Angelo Eranio V. Manalo, and most of all, our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. We love you so much, Po. Thank you for all of your kindness and all of your support for us, Po. We love you so much. Now, everyone, see you all next week. To all our viewers, thank you always for tuning in to Made in Australia. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. See you again next week.